Okay, next question. Oh boy. Last question. If you ever wanted to do a crossover between My Little Pony and Godzilla crossover, what would the story be? Who would the main villain be? And what, of course, which characters will you ship them with? Will you ship with? Keep in mind, this is a if I ever do that crossover again. I have no desire to do a crossover of MLP and Godzilla, so keep that in mind. This is a if I ever do that series. To answer your question, I guess the story could be somewhat kind of similar to a very popular Godzilla and MLP crossover, that being The Bridge, where basically Godzilla and his friends and some of his enemies get teleported into the MLP universe. Sorry about that. Anyways. And of course they befriend the pony characters, with some of them getting love interests. And of course, their enemies are also in that universe. Which, by the way, Godzilla the Bridge is actually possibly the best Godzilla and MLP crossover I have ever seen, because just listening to how the way the people, like, how fans were talking about the series, and listening to a few chapters myself, it's actually a really good series, possibly better than all the other Godzilla MLP crossovers. So, yeah. Anyways, back on to this question. Like I said, it would be somewhat similar to Godzilla the Bridge. And as for the main villain, I would have Bagan. And for the characters, I don't know how to answer that one, because there's a bunch of characters that I would ship them with. And I don't remember anything about my old story about who I shipped with who. So, yeah. Moving on. So, now that you watched Kaiju number 8, I have a question to ask you. Just curious, but are there any female characters you like in a romantic way? I don't know how to answer that one. I don't know how to answer that one. You know what? Let's just move on. Which Alien game do you think is the best? Well, I would say Alien Isolation, because it's a very popular game, and it's by far the best Alien game so far. But I heard that the newest Alien game, Alien Dark Ascended, is actually a really good game. So I guess I'll say that game. So, yeah. Will you do Q&As for all your stories, or just certain ones? Just certain ones. I'll do Q&As for only certain stories. Stories that I feel like that deserve a Q&A. I was thinking about doing a Q&A for the Godzilla Family Remake series, but I decided to not do it because there's already an Ask and Dare series and I don't feel like a lot of people are too curious about what's going to go on in that series, so whenever I get the chance, I will do a Q&A for another popular story that I'm doing, so yeah. Out of all the Godzilla X My Little Pony fanfics, which one do you think was made the best? The one made by Tarp Tano, basically the creator of The Bridge, which was that series that I talked about earlier. It is just put together the best. It was just made the best. The characters go through very interesting character arcs. It's not just a typical, oh, just a Godzilla and MLP crossover. Oh, Godzilla becomes the protector of the Equestria, all that blah 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 blah. There was actually some real good moments in that story where characters go through very interesting character arcs and character development, and there's like real interesting drama in that series. And it was just so good, and I think it's honestly by far the best Godzilla MLP crossover. Just a 10 out of 10. That's all I'm gonna say. A 10 out of 10. If you watch the Q&A videos that Tartano did about the series, he would explain a bit more about how the way he put together his story. So, yeah. What is your favorite story? What is your favorite What If series so far? I honestly don't have that many What If series, like series or scenarios, but I guess my personal favorite one will have to be the What If Godzilla, like Heisei Godzilla and Monster vs. Godzilla switched universes, basically. That would basically be, that is basically by far my personal favorite for What If scenario and What If series, because, like, how the way you, like, Monster vs. Godzilla changed the Heisei universe, and how much those movies were changed, and how the way Heisei Godzilla is changing a lot of the Monsterverse. So, if you could change anything about the Nine Realms series, Dragons the Nine Realms. Oh wait, hold on, my bad. What would you do if you could change anything about the Dragons the Nine Realms series? I could go on and on, but basically, here's the short version. For starters, Tom will not be the main character of the story because he obviously sucks to being the main character. Alex, the best girl, will be the main character and the rightful leader of the Dragon Riders. Tom X Alex will be a thing. Tom X June can go burn in hell. June and her brother can also go burn in hell because they suck. They have no real character growth, no real character development, and whenever they did have general good character growth and character development, it was thrown out the window. And lastly, I wouldn't try to basically make the Nine Realms series so damn bad. Like, seriously, I could go on and on, but I'm not going to waste my time going on and on about what I would change in that series. My god, that series has so many problems. It has more problems than the Monsterverse does. Jesus Christ. What the hell? Alright, next question. What your own version of Godzilla Ultima's true form look like? I don't know, considering Space Wars believes that Godzilla Ultima doesn't really own 13 different dimensions, but it was kind of revealed in the series, so. But I'm not going to become like those toxic fanboys of Godzilla Ultima. I'm not. But, anyways, I would make Godzilla Ultima. I'm not going to go into detail, but basically I would make Godzilla Ultima's true form look like it's something that is out of this universe. And something that looks so demonic and so dangerous that don't want to fight it, basically. So, yeah. That's what I would do. Will you do a what if scenario of what if Nathan Drake chose Chloe, not Elena? Yes, I am planning on doing that, actually. I am actually planning on doing that. I'm actually kind of glad you asked me that question. What is your top 5 favorite dragon villains? Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna get number 1 out of the way first, and I was gonna say number 1 for best dragon villain is 100% going to be Smaug. I honestly love Smaug in the Hobbit series. He's just by far the best. I didn't like how the way he was in the old movies, but in the new movies, the live action movies, they were just so good. And Smaug just had he had like a freaking psychopathic like personality, and I just love that. That's what I love about a dragon villain. Just give them a sick, twisted personality. And how the way he taunted his victims, it was so amazing. He was just, he's just by far the best dragon villain of them all. Number 2 is going to be the Red Death from How to Train Your Dragon. I mostly like how that was basically the moment where Stoic realized that this was a battle he cannot win, and how all hope seemed lost in that moment, and how that dragon was basically kind of the main reason why Hiccup lost his other leg. So, yeah. Number 3 is going to be, what was it again? Oh yeah, that big dragon from the Ring of Fire. That big monstrous alpha dragon. I just liked how the way that dragon was. It was like the big bad alpha, all the dragons, and how our human characters actually struggled when it comes to fighting that monster. Number 4 is going to be Drago's Bewilderbeast. It was just Drago was just mostly controlling the monster, mostly controlling the dragon. So, I mean, it's not that bad of a villain, but I didn't put it at number 1 like the Red Death and Smaug. Oh, and that big alpha dragon from the Ring of Fire. And finally, for number 5, the last dragon I would say that would go on number 5 will have to be basically the Death Grippers. They were alright. They were actually not that bad of a dragon villain, honestly, but I wouldn't say not that great either. Because while they were mostly being controlled, I would have liked it a lot better if they weren't being controlled. So, yeah. I don't like dragons being controlled by humans. I like dragons having their own free will and just doing whatever they want and just yeah, basically them being the main villain, not the humans. Human villains, just yeah. So, yeah.